Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you very much for joining this Srimad Bhagavatam reading in the morning. Uh, Today we will be discussing text 21 of chapter 4, Canto 2. Before that, I will start with the prayers. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Yes. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Sushrusho Shaddadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyatitan Shevanat Shanmatam Swakatha Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Hyapatrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhagavat Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Tata rajastamo bhava kamalo badhayaschaye chetayetairana vidham sthitam satte prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaya grandis chityante sarva samshaya kshiyante chasya karmani drushta evatmanishvare. I seek blessings and prayers from all the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak something meaningful and also remember some aspects of this verse probably in today's as a meditation. So with that we will start again Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2 Chapter 4 Text 21. Yadangri abhidhyana samadhi dhautaya dhyānupashyanti tattvamatmana vadanti chetat kavayo yatharucham same mukundo bhagavan prasidatam. Yadangri abhidhyana samadhi dhautaya dhyānupashyanti hi tattvamatmana vadanti chetat kavayo yatharucham same mukundo bhagavan prasidatam. Yadangri abhidhyana samadhi dhautaya dhyānupashyanti tattvamatmana vadanti chetat kavayo yatharucham same mukundo bhagavan prasidatam. Synonyms: Yadangri, whose lotus feet; Abhidhyana, thinking of at every second; Samadhi, trance; Dhautaya, being washed off; Diya, by such clean intelligence; Anupashyati, does see the following authorities. He, certainly; Tattvam, the absolute truth; Atmanaha, of the Supreme Lord and of oneself. Vadanti, they say; Cha, also; Eta, this; Kavaya, philosophers or learned scholars; Yatharucham, as he thinks; Sa, he; Me, mine; Mukunda, Lord Krishna, who gives liberation; Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead; Prasidatam, be pleased with me. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who gives liberation. By thinking of his lotus feet at every second, following in the footsteps of authorities, the devotee in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. Purport. The mystic yogis, after a strenuous effort to control the senses, may be situated in a trance of yoga just to have a vision of the super soul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once becomes established in real trance, because by such realization, his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of the diseases of material enjoyment. The pure devotee thinks himself fallen into the ocean of birth and death, and incessantly prays to the Lord to lift him up. He only aspires to become a speck of transcendental dust at the lotus feet of the Lord. The pure devotee, by the grace of the Lord, absolutely loses all attraction for material enjoyment and to keep free from contamination, he always thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. King Kulashekara, a great devotee of the Lord, prayed, Krishnastvadiya padapankaja pancharantam Adyaiva me vishatau manasa hamsa prana prayana samaye kapavata pitthai kantavarodhana vidhau smaranam kutaste. My Lord Krishna, I pray that the swan of my mind may immediately sink down to the stems of the lotus feet of your Lordship and be locked in their network. Otherwise, at the time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up with cough, how will it be possible to think of you? There is an intimate relationship between the swan and the lotus stem. So the comparison is very appropriate. Without becoming a swan, a Paramahamsa, one cannot enter into the network of the lotus feet of the Lord. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, the mental speculators, even by dint of learned scholarship, cannot even dream of the absolute truth by speculating over it for eternity. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to such mental speculators. And because they cannot enter into the network stem of the lotus feet of the Lord, all mental speculators differ in conclusions. And at the end, they make a useless compromise by saying, as many conclusions as many ways, according to one's own inclination. Yatharucham. But the Lord is not like a shopkeeper trying to please all sorts of customers in the mental speculator exchange. The Lord is what He is, the absolute personality of Godhead, and He demands absolute surrender unto Him only. The pure devotee, however, by following the ways of previous acharyas or authorities, can see the Supreme Lord through the transparent medium of the bona fide spiritual master, Anupashyati. The pure devotee never tries to see the Lord by mental speculation, but by following the footsteps of the acharyas, Mahajanayena Kathasa Pantha. Therefore, there is no difference of conclusions amongst the Vaishnava acharyas regarding the Lord and the devotees. The Lord Chaitanya asserts that the living entity Jiva is eternally the servitor of the Lord, and that he is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. This tattva of the Lord Chaitanya's is shared by all four sampradayas of the Vaishnava school, all accepting the eternal servitude to the Lord even after salvation. And there is no authorized Vaishnava acharya who may think of the Lord and himself as one. This humbleness of the pure devotee, who is 100% engaged in his service, puts the devotee of the Lord in a trance by which to realize everything. Because to the sincere devotee of the Lord reveals himself, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 10. The Lord being the Lord of intelligence in everyone, even in the non-devotee, favors his devotee with proper intelligence, so that automatically the pure devotee is enlightened with the factual truth about the Lord and his different energies. The Lord is revealed not by one's speculative power or by one's verbal jugglery over the absolute truth. Rather, he reveals himself to a devotee when he is fully satisfied by the devotee's service attitude. Sukadeva Goswami is not a mental speculator or a compromiser of the theory of as many ways as many conclusions. Rather, he prays to the Lord only, invoking his transcendental pleasure. That is the way of knowing the Lord. Wow, such a powerful purport, I think. So we will dive a little more, dive again to discuss some more points which actually touched me. So before that, a small context. Maharaj Parikshit has asked the question in the last chapter that how did the Lord create this material world, specifically how his energies were acting such a way that he was able to do all this complex creation, right? And he thought that's an important question at the time of his death. That means that's really important for us as well. And Sukadeva Goswami, while responding to that question, he immediately did not give the information how the creation has happened. In fact, why he didn't do there is a clue in the today's verse. What is the process of understanding the Lord, right? So in fact, the way he starts with, he's actually trying to glorify the Lord. In fact, most of this chapter, even though it states as a creation, but actually most of the verses are actually glorifying the Lord, right? And until text 18, actually it's the pure glorification, and text 19 onwards, there is a small gear shift where Sukadeva Goswami is also putting his request, saying that please be merciful to me. Right here, Same Mukundo Bhagavan Prasidatam, be pleased with me, right? Because unless one is pleased by the Lord, one will not be able to understand the complex mystery of the Lord, right? In fact, the word Prabhupada explains in the text very detailedly is Atma Tattva or Tattvam Atmanaha. He Tattvam is the absolute truth. Atmanaha means of the Supreme Lord and of oneself, right? So one will not be able to know the Lord and his energies and how they operate, how the creation maintenance happens, will not be possible by our own intelligence, right? One thing is for us to understand, another thing is for somebody else. Even though we have the information, how do we communicate it to others, right? In this case, Sukadeva Goswami knows this tattva, but he wants to communicate this tattva to Parikshit Maharaj, and he is invoking the blessings and prayers of the Supreme Lord, so that he is empowered to speak the truth, right? And he's able to impart the truth unto others as well. Even though they are pure devotees, they're actually naturally feeling all this. In fact, I think pure devotees, they experience naturally this humility and all that. They're actually receiving the knowledge from the Lord, right? So we will go paragraph by paragraph, probably, to understand more what Prabhupada is talking here. The mystic yogis, after strenuous effort to control the senses, may be situated in a trance of yoga just to have vision of super soul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once become established in real trance, because by such realization, his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of the diseases of material enjoyment. I think Prabhupada is explaining the first sentence here, Abhidhyana and Samadhi Dhataya. What is the process of a pure devotee? How does he do? By pure devotional service, he always thinking in his mind, dhyana and samadhi is completely fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So because of that, that is Yadangri. Yadangri is his lotus feet. Because of this, right, he is able to remove all his material contaminations, whatever is there in the heart, and his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of diseases of material enjoyment. Right? So that is why he is able to control this sense. Instead of the yogis mechanically trying to achieve that feat, devotee does it through pure devotional service. And what is the mood of the pure devotee when he is performing these acts of pure devotional service? That is, the pure devotee thinks himself fallen into the ocean of birth and death and incessantly prays to the Lord to lift him up. So this is the humility part that devotee, and Prabhupada addresses this humility later on also in the last paragraph. So the humility aspect of the pure devotee is he always realizes that he is always a servant, and the Lord is the Lord, right? And that is the relationship. The relationships may be different based on the different rasas, but the relationship of the Lord and Jiva as a servant and the Lord will always remain, right? So he thoroughly understands that, and he only aspires to become a speck of transcendental dust at the lotus feet of the Lord because of that humility. And the pure devotee, by the grace of the Lord, absolutely loses all attraction for material enjoyment. And to keep free from contamination, he always thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So it's both the ways again. So, and as he gets cleansed, the more and more he thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. So it goes in the cycle. The Lord cleanses the heart of the pure devotee, and pure devotee more and more he keeps thinking about the Lord, right? Because of his humility. So, and this method of thinking about the lotus feet of the Lord, one very nice detail is given by King Kulashekara. It's a very poetic verse. And the analogy talks about like a Hamsa. Yeah, in this itself, Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Adhyaiva Me Vishato Manasa Rajahamsa. So the Hamsa, the mind, Manasa Rajahamsa means the mind is compared here as Hamsa, and he is praying that this Hamsa get attracted to the or get entangled in the roots of the what is it called? Panjarantam, Pankaja Panjarantam, the lotus flowers stems, where I don't know, probably I never see this, saw that physically, but looks like in a pond underneath the water, the stems are like a there are many stems forming like a panjara means like a cage, right? So he's describing, let my mind of the hamsa, right, swan, go and get stuck there and be locked in that right panjara, right? In that network, so that I will never be able to come out of it. Usually the panjaram is not a good word, right? It's like a trapped in, but in this case, getting trapped in the lotus feet, the network of the lotus feet of the Lord is very good. So essentially, if you see who is at the lotus feet of the Lord, he is actually the pure devotees are there. So trapped in the network of the lotus feet means being following or being trapped in the instructions of the pure devotees of the Lord, right? So in fact, that also comes in fact in the same verse. Here we will discuss a little more on that. Dhya anupashyati is that in this verse it's actually addresses that one. So we will come to that. So this is a very nice analogy, very poetic. Why King Kulashekara is praying that his mind gets locked in the network of his Lord's lotus feet, because at the time of birth, it's actually very difficult for the body to cooperate with the mind, or even the mind itself to cooperate with the soul's desire. to go back to Godhead by remembering the Lord. Okay, it's very, very difficult at that time. So if his mind itself, that right now itself is locked in, so it's very easy, right? So at that time he will be able to remember. At the time of the death, he will be able to remember. So he is praying, King Kulashekara is praying like that, that his mind get uh, locked in the network or the cage of the lotus feet of the Lord. So Prabhupada explains that analogy very nicely here. There is an intimate relationship between the swan and the lotus stem. So the comparison is very appropriate. Without becoming a swan or Paramahamsa. Now I remember recently Sri Kushal Prabhu in his class, he was telling PhD means Paramahamsa devotee. So maybe that's how we can also here relate. So pure devotees are all automatically PhDs. They don't need to acquire a separate PhD. So there is an intimate relationship between the swan and the lotus stem. So the comparison is very appropriate. Without becoming a swan, a Paramahamsa, one cannot enter into the network of the lotus feet of the Lord. Wow. So generally, in material world, to enter into a cage as a prison, the qualification is you have to do something wrong, right? Then only we'll enter into that. But here, to enter into the cage of the lotus feet of the Lord, the qualification is actually significant. It's not like one cannot enter into the network of the feet of the Lord just by right, without being a Paramahamsa devotee. So, as stated in the Brahma Samhita, the mental speculators, even by dint of learned scholarship, cannot even dream of the absolute truth by speculating over it for eternity. I'll just, for the sake of my, I want to bring that verse up. Yeah, the verse is Pantastu koti shatavachara sampragamyo vayo rathapi manaso munipungavana sopyasti yat prapadasimya vinchatat tve govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So Lord Brahma is praying here. Uh, 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 in this prayer, what Srila Prabhupada is referring right now that we are reading, as stated in the Brahma Samhita, the mental speculators, even by dint of learned scholarship, cannot even dream of the absolute truth by speculating over it for eternity. So that's what the Brahma's prayer, essence of the Brahma's prayer, like with mental speculation, one cannot approach the Lord. So now Prabhupada is moving into the second line of the verse. So that verse is, the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to such mental speculators. And because they cannot enter into the network stem of the lotus feet of the Lord, all mental speculators differ in conclusions. Okay, this is actually the third sentence. And at the end, they make a useless compromise by saying as many conclusions, as many ways. This is a very popular philosophy, particularly in India, Yatomat Tatopat, so that all the ways are okay, everything is okay. So you are okay, I am okay, that kind of philosophy. According to the one's own inclination, yatharucham. Here it is referred as yatharucham. Yes. In the verse it says, vadanti cha etat kavayo yatharucham. But the philosophers, they try to concoct and come up with whatever conclusions, whatever conceptions of the Lord based on their own mental speculations, right? So that's what they do. And Prabhupada is totally against it and denouncing it with his fighting spirit. The Lord is what he is. Sorry. Yeah, but the Lord is not like a shopkeeper trying to place all sorts of customers in the mental speculator exchange. So it's not that whatever they concoct, it becomes uh, truth, and the Lord doesn't have to abide by that um, concoction, because the Lord is what He is, the absolute personality of Godhead, and He demands absolute surrender unto Him only. Now Prabhupada is coming to how we can understand the Lord, the second sentence. The pure devotee, however, by following the ways of pure previous acharyas. So the previous acharyas here is mentioned is anupashyati. Yeah. So anupashyanti is the word used in this word. It's a very popular word. Right? The pure devotees, however, by following the ways of pure acharyas or authorities, can see the Supreme Lord through the transparent medium of bona fide spiritual master. Also, in the previous to previous verse, the acharyas are considered, the nice word is actually defined there. It's called Gata Vyalikaya. And Prabhupada translates it as by those who are above pretensions. And Prabhupada explains, I'm sure we have it from the devotees. Gata Valika is basically a pure devotee who doesn't have any other conceptions, or all his conceptions and all his desires are purified, and his only aim is Krishna. His only desire is also to please Krishna. Gata Vyalika. And those are the ones who are referred to here. And the example given in this verse is Brahma and Lord Shiva. Right? Aja Shankaradibihi. Aja means Brahma, and Shankaradibihi is Lord Shiva. And Prabhupada explains that Kumaras and Lakshmi, because those are the four people who started the Sampradayas, the discipleship is coming. So they are the Gata Vyalika. When we follow in their footsteps, in the acharyas where the authorized disciples have started, right? Gata Vyalika, then our knowledge, we will be able to understand the Lord properly. The pure devotee never tries to see the Lord by mental speculation, but by following in the footsteps of acharyas. Mahajanayana Kathasupanta. This is another popular phrase Prabhupada uses many times from Mahabharata. Mahajanayana Kathasupanta. Therefore, there is no difference of conclusion amongst the Vaishnava acharyas regarding the Lord and the devotees. Lord Chaitanya asserts that the living entity Jiva is eternally the servitor of the Lord, and that he is simultaneously one and different from the Lord. And here this is one of the detail, that when we follow those acharyas who are Gata Vyalikai, generally the conclusions of the truth will not be different, because previously in the verse it is said, right, the mental speculators, each one they have their own philosophy, and everybody thinks, yeah, everything is okay. But here now Anupashiti, when we follow in the footsteps, ultimately the conclusions will be the same. And Prabhupada is explaining how it is so, using Lord Chaitanya's theology or philosophy, how it is same in all the four sampradayas which are coming from explained in the text 19, Brahma and Lord Shiva, Kumaras and Lakshmi Sampradaya. The example is the position of the Lord and the Jiva. They are always different. They are not, the Jiva will never become the Lord again, as against the Mayavada philosophy or impersonalist philosophy. Right? So the another important word Prabhupada also focuses here is Dhya, which is also came in the last verse yesterday. Shatru Mataji was explaining Dhyampati, and the word again comes in the exactly second line here. Yeah, think yesterday also it is in the second line, Dhyam Patir, right? Today also it is in the second line, Dhyanu Pashyanti, right? Dhya means basically the purified intelligence, and the Prabhupada says here, the Lord of the intelligence, the Lord being the Lord of intelligence in everyone, Dhyampati, even in the non-devotee, favors his devotee with proper intelligence, so that automatically the pure devotee is enlightened with the factual truth about the Lord and his different energies. So this is basically the question Parishit Maharaj asked, how the Lord with his different energies creates and maintains this world. So how do we know that? We cannot know the unknowable, because the Jiva will never be able to know without giving Lord giving the intelligence, right? So, and Lord himself, because he is the Yampati, he gives the intelligence, and the same conclusion is also presented in Bhagavad Gita 10:10 and 10:11 as well. Prabhupada is quoting here 10:10. I will just read those two verses. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. Here dhyam is buddhi is used here, buddhi yogam tam. Those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Wow, so very nice verse. And also next verse is again, Teshamevanu kampartam aham ajnanajam tama nashayami atma bhavosto gnana deepena bhasvata. Here the word used is as gnana deepena, right? Dhya is also in a way is a light, so gnana deepena is also light. So it's a different words for the same meaning, that Lord gives us the intelligence. He shines the knowledge through the light that he gives. Right, we're going back to the text again. The Lord is revealed not by one's speculative power or by one's verbal jugglery over the absolute truth. Rather, he reveals himself to a devotee when he is fully satisfied by the devotee's service attitude. Sukadeva Goswami is not a mental speculator or a compromiser of the theory of as many ways, as many conclusions. Rather, he prays to the Lord only, invoking his transcendental pleasure. That is the way of knowing the Lord. Wow. So, so again, Prabhupada very powerfully concluding this text purport here, that the only way to know the Lord is the example that Sukadeva Goswami is showing here. When Sukadeva Goswami was asked with the question, he didn't directly jump into the giving the information how creation happens, but rather he is invoking the blessings of the Lord. And he himself is showing by example. So we can say that even Sukadeva Goswami is a Gata Vyalika, is an example of Gata Vyalika. He doesn't have any pretensions. He has all thorough conceptions, and he is actually following those conceptions because he's so humbly praying to the Lord that the Lord give me strength to describe your glories, your creation, your maintenance, how you do through your energies to Parishit Maharaj. So he is perfectly showing by his example how to know the Lord. And actually similar conclusion is also presented in Canto 10, chapter 14 by Lord Brahma, how to know the unknowable. That's also a beautiful section of Lord Brahma. In fact, in many verses he says, the only way to know the Lord is by devotional service. And he also contradicts, saying that with any other process like a jnana, by mental speculation, one cannot reach, one cannot understand the Lord. One cannot understand the Lord. So this conclusion of this teaching of Anupashyati and depending on the Lord to know, and depending on the Lord means actually to approaching the lotus feet of the Lord, which means approaching the Gata Vyalikas. in our case, our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas and current acharyas. That is the way to know ultimately. And we may know the information, but to the factual, our heart may not be totally, completely inspired. That is the secret aspect of the knowledge, right? So we have Bhagavatam, everything is there, but still, how much I understand it, how much confidence I have in those teaching, and how much I understood all about that. So it's not just that information. Just by having information, I can say I know it. It's the process is not that one. The process is actually the bhakti process, and through that only one gradually understands different layers and different depths of the energies of the Lord. So with that, I want to conclude, and I would invite any discussion or questions to further enhance today's topics. Please, devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Guranga.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu.
I somehow, your classes come on Sundays, and kind of I have so much time to listen, and every word and every bit of what you said was, I was listening. It's a superb verse, and the way you explained also was very nicely. It's imbibing to my heart. So few thoughts came in, Prabhu. I just want to share. When I am an IT, say suppose you are an IIT and your wife is IIT, and Krishna Prabhu is IIT. I am not IIT. Okay, so if at all I want to get a job, so my resume speaks my qualification saying I am an IIT and I have managed many projects, multi-million-dollar projects, and I glorify myself in my resume a lot to get a job. But King Kulashekhar's verse, what he's talking, I was thinking, what is the use of all this to get a job in this material world? We are striving, trying so many things and put in your resume to maintain our life, maintain and sustain in our lives in this material world as long as we live here. But Ante Narayana Smriti, when that will come to me, right? So because Ante Kapha Vata Pitta, that mind, and then you can't even say they chant the name of Krishna at the time of death. So how do I do this? So my thought was, we glorify ourselves to see that I am so and so, speculate myself, and then even in the job, even anywhere, in order to be in this material world, if you want to be, it's like a struggle because there are so many very competitive world, struggle for existence, survival of the fittest. So survival of the fittest comes only when you present yourself that you're better than others. So that's what we do. But in the spiritual platform, what I was thinking is, can I put in my resume of a spiritual resume, hey, I am Balaram Prasad Das, I am prideless, I am completely humble, I am completely, all these qualities, can I put that in my resume, right? To show off, if I put that in my resume and I give it to the temple authority, I am so and so, give me something to serve. They will say, you are the number one idiot, and then kick me out of it. So, but that resume is not in the paper, but it is inside the heart, where Krishna is looking at us, how qualifications can be developed, and what are all these services, what you do. Did you get those qualities in you? Then that is the time you are qualified to even get back there, because Vaikuntha has all these Vaishnavas having those qualities, and so that they can, that environment is possible for you to get there. Or even if I go there, I will still, of course, I'll not be qualified to go there also. Even if I go there, it will be odd. I am odd there, very much odd. How can I go there anyway, right? So that is why Krishna gives that, is looking at from a previous acharyas and telling us to follow the footsteps, that your resume has to be built up, that which is inbuilt but not its outward, right? So that is the qualification for us to go back. So recently I was telling Dhananjay Pandit Prabhu that Prabhu, you are the personification of glorification, which is Dhananjay Pandit Prabhu. Number two, Mohan Lila Prabhu is personification of the Vaishnava Seva. Number three, Vrindavana Das Prabhu is the personification of humility. And what am I? I am the personification of fault finding. So I was thinking all this. I'm just telling from my heart. So how do I get qualified to even get there? And how do I get, how do I know that Krishna is pleased? I'll give one incident. Recently, there was in a GBC meeting, which is not known to everyone, that in Ukraine, there is lots of things going on, and all the devotees are crying because even where the situation of Ukraine is.
Yeah.
So even the devotees or others, they're very, very much, they cannot live in that country. They have to get out, they have to somewhere in the camps. Think about what's the life there. So Niranjan Maharaj is the GBC there for the Ukraine. He was in tears when he was explaining what's the situation in Ukraine. When he was explaining in GBC meeting, he was completely in tears. And then he glorified one devotee, that one Mataji, that how that Mataji was helping so many people, giving them prasadam. Even in the European country, they're moved from one place to other. Are they served prasadam? Are they taken care? Kind of a devotee care. One Mataji was very much in devotee care. And the Maharaj, Dinanjan Maharaj, was glorifying that Mataji in the GBC meeting. And then all the great GBC members were there, and we don't know who was that. And His Holiness Japatak Maharaj came to know that is his own disciple. And after that, he was so happy because he didn't even know the people who are serving Krishna, serving devotees, even the special master, because we don't update. This is my resume. Oh, yeah, I'm doing this. Maybe I'll send you a report. I'm doing it. But I don't glorify or boast myself that I am doing this. That His Holiness Japatak Maharaj connected a call, talked to her personally, and he glorified the devotee. I am very, very proud of you. That's a big word. When something comes from a spiritual master, that I am very, very proud of you that you're doing it. I'm so happy for you. So Krishna is so pleased. That's how, even if I do, if I don't do, Krishna wants to identify that this is a wonderful soul, then he can identify through someone that he is glorified. So this is my 2 cents this morning for this verse, Prabhu. I am just telling from my heart. It is really touching the way. So yesterday's discussion or whatever I'm thinking, of course, we don't need all those. Krishna doesn't look like that. But what we need is an encouragement from one who is doing it. Oh, Prabhu, you are doing great. We don't need that. We are all human beings. If at all I want to serve Krishna, I don't have to show that I'm doing anything. I'm serving Krishna, right? But for the people who are newcomers or people they need encouragement. So that's what we are lacking. So we need to encourage each other and inspire each other so that they can progress well and take it this, whatever in the Srimad Bhagavatam will say, it's all in the paper, but not on the board. That's what I said yesterday. That means when will we do that? When it comes all from the encouragement. So that's all, Prabhu. Thank you so much for giving me opportunity to speak something this morning.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for your perspective. And yes, you mentioned many points. Our resume, yeah, that's a tricky thing as well. I don't, my personal understanding is I don't think we have to update our resume. Krishna knows, I think. Yeah, as a super soul, he knows. In fact, he not just sees the actions, activities, and he sees the intentions, heart also. So sometimes some devotees may not be big in actions. Does that mean they're not qualified to get locked in the lotus feet of the Lord in there? I don't think so. Yeah, they may not be popular, but sometimes actually popularity distracts us also. It distracts actually. It becomes more trouble to be popular devotee. So anyway, those are some thoughts. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for the very beautifully presenting. I mean, I know you always presents very systematic way. It's like a teaching the children, right? I mean, it's very nice way that you present. That's why I was telling Mohan earlier, Prabhu, you are a very good teacher to children also, especially little elder children, not the, I don't know younger ones, but yeah, elder ones. I was telling him. So you teach very nicely. I mean, you presented very systematic way. So that's what I was thinking, Prabhu. But then coming to this verse, I mean, the way Sukadeva Goswami is invoking the blessings of the Lord, it's very nice. I was thinking of the first two chapters, right? So how he was, if I read this verse again, it is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who gives the liberation. Right, so I mean, he's saying, I mean, because there are so many other people are there, and he's very nicely praying the Lord, and he's giving the one of the kind of who gives the liberation, right? I mean, going back to the question that Parikshit Maharaj asked. So I was thinking the way he came to this place. I mean, of course, Sukadeva Goswami gave so many explanations, right? I mean, different process, and then again he said, how do we get that? I mean, by following in the authorities of great authorities, right? I mean, it's very nicely is presenting it. So that's what struck me, Prabhu. And it says that Paramahamsa, the other point I was thinking, I mean, the other day when I think Sri Kishore Prabhu gave the class, right? So I was thinking, I think Sri Kishore Prabhu only, yeah. I mean, of course, he explained what is this Paramahamsa. I was thinking again, right? So I mean, is of course Hamsa itself is can take whatever is there, right? Out of, I mean, milk it can take from the when mix of water and milk. How the devotee, I mean, a pure devotee can do in like Prabhupada, right? I mean, whatever kind of place he was there, he was able to find those souls, right? So I mean, yeah, I mean, he's just not Hamsa, Paramahamsa, right? And all what kind of PhDs? I mean, just by reading these purports, right? I was thinking, I mean, of course, keeping aside Prabhupada's, I mean, pure devotional service and great devotee. I mean, of course, I mean, many devotees knows, but even if I just go at the way he spent his efforts to write these purports, I mean, I don't know how many PhDs he should get in the English language itself, right? So I mean, I was thinking that when he was giving that, I mean, the way he put that so nicely, presenting the message. So I mean, I was thinking, did he do? I mean, how many kind of, I mean, 100 degrees in the English language, right? I mean, he came from a, I mean, place where is not language is not native language is not English, but the way he put it, I mean, it's I mean, so wonderful. Not just the words itself, but the whole the way the message. I mean, the other day I was hearing from, of course. I mean, his devotional is coming and the purports. That's where it's changing the people's hearts, right? He was sharing that when he's presenting so many devotees books, right, in his classes, when they read Prabhupada book, right, somehow their heart moves. They become devotee or not devotee. That is a different story. I mean, many becomes at least their heart moves for sure. But I mean, I mean, there are other devotees' books are there, great devotees, but there is some speciality in Prabhupada, right? So, what kind of personality was? So, I was just thinking, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. I'll take that as prayers and blessings, so that if whatever the way, in fact, I first try to make me understand, and that's what I speak. If I can understand myself, maybe others will understand it. I know others know better, but it's just that way I am trying to present, and I take as a blessing, that so that I will improve on that. And yes, the comments about you, Prabhupada, is there is no doubt at all. uh, uh, Even with PhDs and in the English language, how many people actually can produce even a book, or even a few books for that matter? It's unimaginable. I don't think with any manual effort it happens. Yeah. So it's a totally spiritual effort. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, as usual, wonderful. I look forward for your classes, because it's Sunday, you have a lot more time to go in detail and explain everything. So today I was focusing on the word anupashyati, and what came to my mind was mantra 6 of Ishopanishad, yastu sarvani bhutyani atmanya evanupashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanaha tato na vijugupsate. He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who seeks all living entities as his parts and parcel, and who sees the Supreme Lord with everything, never hates anything or any being. And then if you go into the purport of this, Prabhupada is explaining, and how consistently, it's the same thing he explains even in the purport that you read, and in across, I know it is there in probably um, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or I forget, Nectar of Instruction, one of those two also, and you also explained it so well. Thank you for that, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. I think important concepts Prabhupada repeats again and again and again. So Anupashyanti is one of that. In fact, that is our whole bhakti starts like that, right? I think. So that's the most fundamental, following the previous acharyas.
There, Anupashyati Prabhupada translates as observes in a systematic way, right? Systematically.
Yes, Prabhuji. And ISKCON is all about, like that lineage, bona fide lineage that we go through, and it is top down.
Yeah.
Like how Vrindavan Prabhu explained, it's not like whatever we concoct and then we say, oh, all these paths will lead to God. No, people who do not know the path cannot lead us to God. So, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. I think we're already past the time, 8:34. So anybody wants to share, or we can.
I thought we are having nice discussions, Prabhu. There are more people may say something.
Oh, please, Prabhu, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, I will go later, but I'm waiting for other, especially like
I think please go ahead.
have a
There are only
nice.
two more are there, Prabhu, I think. Amritkeli Mataji
No.
and Chitramani Mataji.
Yeah.
Please, Prabhu, Vamshidhari Prabhu, please go ahead.
Okay. I mean, it was a little bit of struggle, Prabhu, this morning, because I have not been able to join, and I was trying to join. I joined today, but I was still passive and trying to bring my attention, and then I was carried away by other things. So it was a struggle, but the way you are releasing was very attractive. It was like you are going through the word by word and purport, like it was like so sweet.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. I will take that as a again blessing, so that I'll relish
That's a
more and
reality,
more.
Prabhu.
Yeah. So,
That's a reality.
so,
In any case, I was also appreciating Balram Prasad Prabhu's association today, and how he was really exemplifying, how we carry forward in our path of purification. Like especially, maybe I can share something. Is it okay? It's
sure,
8:30,
Prabhu.
but yeah. So two things. One is Parshit Maharaj, like he did this dead snake on the Brahmana, and then like right after that he was remorseful. What a thing I did. Like it is so heinous and so condemning, because it's a direct orders of the Supreme Lord not to, to protect the Brahmanical culture. And then he was like, like that. And then in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 16th chapter, Krishna was going on and on with the demoniac qualities. And then Arjuna was like, he didn't put it out, but, Prabhupada mentions, he was thinking, am I demoniac? But then Krishna says, no, Arjuna, you're like, you're born with divine qualities. And Prabhupada explains, because he was considering pros and cons, it is divine, it's not demoniac. Like how Parshit Maharaj was, really, Prabhupada says actually, the sincere regret of a devotee takes away the accidental sins, or like, things like that. So I was appreciating the association of all of you, who are nicely relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, and also like senior devotees like Balram Prasad Prabhu. It is so nice and sweet. It's very like the group is nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So, yeah, I think we are really past the time. Chandana Mataji, yeah, please, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm the only one left, but I just want to appreciate as well. I was in the temple and I was trying to multitask. So I mean, unlike Balram Prasad Prabhu, I was not really listening to every word, but the mood was so beautiful, and just everybody's appreciation is so nice. I'm just feeling so fortunate to be in this company of wonderful devotees. That's all, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
There is one more invisible participant, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you,
She is not speaking.
okay.
She's always like that, Prabhu, incognito. With the decorated with the, or covering herself with the humility.
Yeah.
She's not there, Prabhu. Okay.
Yeah, she just stepped out, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much for joining again, for your association. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.